Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Halo Infinite Season 2 Lone Wolves has just dropped, so I thought it would be the perfect time to make a video about the age-old conundrum, teamwork versus lone wolfing. The purpose of this video is to endeavour to investigate to what extent people should play with their team or lone wolf in Halo Infinite. To explore this idea, I'll be playing 5 games in which I will intentionally try and stay with my team as much as possible. And then I will play a second 5 games in which I will endeavour to lone wolf as much as possible. I will also show some highlights and lowlights from those games. After that, we will conclude by jumping into the stats from the 10 games and having a look at how the 2 different playstyles affected my individual statistics, as well as how or if they affected the whole team. So let's get down to business. Alright people, first of the 5 games on teamwork. We're going to be endeavouring to sticking with team as much as possible. Alright, so where are we all going? So I'm going to follow this guy, the big fish. Oh, pushing my team. Oh no. Ah. Damn. Oh. We lost game 1. Game 2, Stronghold Streets.
I'll go with you anywhere.
Okay, I'm with you. No. Less said about that, the better. Not my best game. NGL. Game 3 now, Slayer Recharge. Come on, let's get this dub. Yes! Game 4, Oddball Live Fire again. Oh, Mangler combo, come on. Strongholds Recharge. What the hell is going on? Alright, we are now about to start running around like a lone wolf. Oh, must be on own. Mangler. I'm going to rank down so hard. My teammate's going to absolutely hate me. Constant 1v2s. Slayer Recharge Game 2. Lone Wolf. Oh, that's right. Oh! Oh! That was lone wolfing. Damn. Game 3. I'm going to annoy some people in this game. Ow! Ow! Mine. Lone Wolf Game 4, Oddball Live Fire again. Oh, hold that. We got another win. We got 2 wins out of 5. Hey. Game 5 being a lone wolf, streets, strongholds. Maybe it is. Oh! Oh! Get lone wolfed. Alright, the information from the 10 test games is in. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and let's take a look at these stats together. Just to caveat this, I have added 5 random games from me playing normally as a control set of games. Rightio, so the first box at the top is from the 5 games where I endeavoured to play in as close a proximity to my team as I could. And some of the things you will notice are, I went even the majority of the time. I averaged in the top 3 in terms of damage in the entire lobby of 8. I only won 1 out of the 5 games, and that was a surprise to me. I averaged more deaths than kills. Again, that was a surprise to me. Finally, the team deaths were relatively low, and that wasn't a surprise to me. The next box down includes stats from the games where I was lone wolfing, and I endeavoured to play as far away from my team as possible. Some of the things you'll notice from this set of statistics are, I won 3 out of 5 games. That was a surprise to me. Team deaths were relatively high, however, and that was not a surprise to me. I averaged in the middle of the lobby when it came to damage, and I averaged even in terms of kills and deaths. The final box at the bottom, my control set of games, just me playing relatively normally. Some of the things you'll notice from this set of statistics might be, I go positive in terms of kills and death. My assists are noticeably higher. I only won 1 game. That was a surprise to me. Games 2 and 3 were really, really close from what I can remember, and to be fair, I do actually blame bad teammates. There are a couple of really poor decisions in very clutch moments which lost us the game ultimately. Anyway, I'm not going to make excuses. Team deaths were also fairly high, and that was actually a bit of a surprise to me. So those are the stats. You can pause these and have a closer look if you like. Before we get to the conclusion, however, I've got a couple of quick thoughts. First of all, this whole teamwork versus lone wolfing thing isn't as simple as I thought it would be. I went into this experiment thinking the teamwork stats are going to absolutely destroy the lone wolfing stats. I admit, I was biased. But what I feel I discovered is that it's not as simple as desperately trying to stay with your team or desperately trying to lone wolf. The correct answer, the correct way of approaching the game from the way I see it, is ultimately understanding the situation at hand. Before we get to that, however, I just want to surmise a couple of the problems I faced when trying to play these 2 different game styles. First of all, let's have a quick screen change. Much better. Alright, first of all, when I was desperating teamwork, I felt a distinct lack of awareness en route to my team. My sole goal was, I've got to get to team, I've got to get to team. And I wasn't really aware of what was happening to me on the way. I wasn't aware of what was going on my flank. And I was just trying to get to my team. I was too single-minded, so I got caught off guard a lot and died. I also noticed that essentially I was relying too much on others when I was the advanced player, and I should have been calling the shots a little more. I wasn't controlling the map or the spawns in the way that I think is helpful, and there were occasions when I could have flanked but didn't, because I wanted to make sure I stayed with the team, and we lost out in some instances because of that. Also, as I was playing so hard to be around team, I definitely wasn't playing the objective anywhere near enough, and I think we could have come closer to wins or even won a couple of those games if I was focused more on the objective as well as just being in and around team. Next up, quick thoughts about lone wolfing. Essentially, I could have saved multiple players' lives several times but didn't, and I even witnessed it. It was bad. There were also occasions when I was throwing away good possessions and I was overextending and being aggressive just to make sure that I was getting that awesome, fun flank. Whether we won or lost as well when I was lone wolfing, the games felt much more swingy, connection and lobby based. If I was hitting my shots well and it was a low ping, the game felt good. However, if it was a high ping, I really could have done with staying with my team more to have some support. And when I say lobby-based, I mean that if I had a good set of players on my team, I could afford to lone wolf. But if I had a bad set of players on my team who didn't really understand team cohesion, then lone wolfing was a bit naff. I was also dying a lot when pushing for objectives, and when I was pushing for power weapons, I felt like I never really attained power weapons all that well when lone wolfing. I felt very vulnerable when going for them. However, I do think some game types are more conducive to lone wolfing, So oddball, for example, I think the nature of the game type encourages and forces teamwork as you endeavour to protect the ball player. So when you've got a setup, I think that actually teamwork can work quite well with oddball and flanking, lone wolfing. You can push around. There's one instance on live fire where I kind of pushed into the enemy spawn, killed 2 of them there, and then that means there's only 2 of them left to push our guys who are at tower on live fire, meaning they weren't going to have a successful push. So sometimes it can work really well. So I think if you are going to lone wolf, oddball is the game type to do it in. Then the next most conducive to flanking, I think, is probably strongholds, then CTF, and then least of all Slayer. You'll notice that the one game I did win in the teamwork set of games was Recharge Slayer. Right before we get to the conclusion, I'm not really going to touch on the control set of games other than to note that the assists were so much higher. Probably part of that is that I wasn't playing with a really specific goal in mind, like being with team, being away from team. I could be a bit more aware and focus on helping team more and having a complementary team shot. Not necessarily being in proximity to my team or miles away, but somewhere in between the two. So, the conclusion. Before I suggest my own ideas, however, I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below about what Halo tips or advice have most helped you to improve as a player. To build on that, what advice or tips would you give to brand new players to Halo to help set them up for success in Halo Infinite PvP? The answer to teamwork versus lone wolfing, the way I see it, is a well-balanced playstyle, knowing when to be with team, when to be complementary to team, and when to be miles away in the distance flanking. And you get that from a deep understanding of the game, knowing how to read situations and knowing how to respond to them accordingly. So here are my closing thoughts, and they're very concise and I hope helpful. Number 1, watch pro gameplay from tournaments, see what the teams are trying to achieve and what works well. And number 2, watch back your own gameplay and see how it's falling short. To start that process right now, click on my playlist in the top left, which shows pro examples and how to learn from them. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's given you something to think about. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.